Moderation helps everyone feel safe. Learn more. Okay. No, not now. Yes, good morning, good evening, and good afternoon. Hello, beautiful man. Um, of course, this is Algol by Christopher Warnock. So now I'm testing the energy of which talisman to buy. And with the Mercury stationing the retrograde, I think I made a bit of a mistake. I said I'm going to gather my wealth to purchase a talisman this month, but I think it's not working as I expected. So this is a bit of algal energy, protective. The scope from which I begin this episode is a very niche episode. Very niche episode. Saturn and Jupiter hour, Ascendant Jupiter, so in good will, and heaven ruled in Libra, ruled by Venus. Jupiter in the 6th house, and Venus in the 9th house for this. So it's a bit of a teaching. I'm going to talk about Mars in Libra for Scorpio Ascendant tips and general tips if your 12th house is Libra. So Mars is now in the 29th degree of Virgo, about to enter Libra. Now, as I'm going through my forecasts and do the 12 signs breakdowns, I pay attention to some ascendants that need me more than others. Okay? For example, in recent months, couple of months, the entire cardinal axis, especially the last decan, whereas Libra, Aries, and particularly Capricorn and Cancer, that were having this Pluto hard aspect in their ascendant. And I kind of felt like I need to express more compassion there and to perhaps say some one words or words that can help. Now with this Mars in Libra forecast, I realized that for Scorpio Libras, it's not just that Mars is going to go for Scorpio. Did I say Scorpio Libras? I'm going to keep it for Scorpio Libras. Ascendant Scorpios, it's not just that Mars is going to go through your 12th house. Everybody has this. Ascendant Libras are going through this right now. But in particular, as I was broadcasting, I was like, oh my gosh, okay, what do I tell you other than that? So let's begin with the timeless teaching. And the timeless teaching is being Ascendant Scorpio. And what does it mean that you have a 12th house Libra? And what does it mean that the ruler of your 12th is the ruler of your 7th? So this is a bit of a timeless teaching that I want to extract from my previous video. 12th house. Bedroom, hospital, jail, retreat, exile, loss, and the spiritual experiences involving with them. Also the world of crossing over, mediumship, and so on and so forth. Now, Libra, Venus, shape, form, beauty, justice, trade, artistic abilities, the art gallery of the zodiac. So it can be an artist in exile, or the artists that, or it can also be sex workers. And you could have like a partner like this, and we can't forget that 12th house is also hidden enemies, and this is why it's also the house of addictions. And for you to have Venus ruling both your 12th house and your 7th house is basically means that on the one hand, your significant other can be your secret admirer. It can be that this person, especially if you're a man and this is a woman, it can be that this, because women are more like the Venus, but Venus is relationships in general, but also for women and also for gender non-conforming or multi-genders like me or so on. It just means that it can be that your partner was a secret admirer of yours, that they've been observing you, that they've been admiring you even from afar, and it took some time until they were able to reach to you because on the one hand they're in your 7th, but on the other hand they're in your 12th. Another upside of this, it means that because your partner is also representative of that which is in your 12th, your partner facilitates you to be able to see that hidden aspect that you don't usually see and overcome addictions, loss, and so on and so forth. So there are pros to that. It can absolutely mean that your partner is your secret admirer, is the person that's going to help you fight your demons. It's the person that you naturally feel inclined to give unconditionally to, and you are being returned with care. Now to the pitfalls. It can mean that your partner has that your partner is, you might be addicted to your partner. For example, you might be having a hidden addiction or addiction to your partner, be like overly dependent. Because of that, you might have a partner that is also a hidden enemy, both intentionally and unintentionally. They might be doing things, or you might be doing things with them that undermine your relationship, or they might be doing things that undermine your mental health, simply put. It can mean that it can definitely, on the positive side, can definitely mean that what your secret desires do come into fruition in your partnership, which is yay. That being said, if there are like malefic aspects or stuff going through with there, it means that whatever happens in your 7th house, your partnerships, can really unnerve you psychologically. So there are goods and bads. Mars going over can mean conflicts that unnerve us psychologically. Mars is not at its joy, it's its 12th, it's at its joy, it's its 6th. Mars is about, at its joy, its 6th is open enemies, or when you have to fight a disease, okay, because it's like the poison is the medicine, not in Aries context, but Mars is about taking action. So if it's your physical body, and your daily routines, and your work, and your service to the world, and also in tackling enmities, open enemies. Mars can kind of like you being victorious when you need to be victorious, and you can change when you need to adapt. So you can be victorious with your enemies, but no, open. Mars is all out in the open. Saturn is at its joy, at its 12th. So unless you have Saturn in Libra, it means that Mars coming to the 12th is where you can have a psychic attack, where you can have energy interfering with yours, where you can have hidden enemies. It just means that the decisive Mars is not so decisive about who is the enemy here, what should be done, how do I diagnose things, where Saturn could, with clarity and precision, see, okay, I see that this is what's going on. I have a 12th house ruled by Saturn, and you usually get the energy of people, and even if they're doing shape shifting, I'm kind of like, oh, I see it's shape shifting, and I ask non-specifically for it to return to sender. And that's just the tip that I gave to you, to protect your energy with non-specific return to sender, or when you ask from the gene that you turn into to do the discernment act for you, and you activate more like like Kali or Durga or Lilith or Algol. Mars is going to want to take action, but it can be like subversive, manipulative action that you can undermine yourself by trying to protect yourself. This is the danger of Mars in Libra. Okay, now that I think about this, so you can absolutely, it's an absolutely great time for anybody going, right now it's Libra Ascendant, but for Scorpio Ascendant, when Mars is going, anything going through your 12th house that is a malefic, it can be decreasing. So letting go of addiction, cutting out with any addiction that you have. If you're codependent, if you have patterns in your relationship you no longer want them to have, cutting out, since that's not going to work for me. It will, even though Mars is fallen, it will be more successful. So there are those things that you could do, which is non-specific return to sender, which is understanding that you don't have to identify who that person, who's the third party, because that third party just might be your partner, and it might not be that they're doing something on purpose. Um, but when you set the intention to protect yourself and protect your mental health, then things will be revealed to you, and the people will leave if they have to leave. So if your partner is like the malefic thingy, then that will happen. Um, but if it's like a trickster spirit or even a third party that you are concerned about, so they would kind of like go their own way, go their own road when you do it non-specifically. Um, so yeah, and another thing that's important to remember is 12th house charity. And the concept of 12th house charity is something that I've taken from Lada Sheva. And this is where we give charity to what the 12th house in our chart rules, so that we can deal with what comes up. For you, Libra is ruled by Venus. And you can add charities to the planets that are in your 12th house, in your Libra house. But Libra is ruled by Venus. And so even for a general, Ketu in Libra, thinking a charity that is Libra Venus would be charity too. Any 12th house would be charity to sex workers or human trafficking survivors, people who are in jail, people who are dealing with addiction, women dealing with addiction, women recovering from addiction, women recovering from codependency, artists, okay? Artists facing jail because of their artistic expression. So I'm thinking about like the band that had the song All the Things She Said, that they were like imprisoned in Russia and then they were, I hope, released or something like that. So you could make like charity or donation or even a sacred ritual in favor that supports these people that are hospitalized or jailed because of their artistic expression or because of their looks. Definitely charity to people dealing with eating disorder or body image disorder is something that you can make donations for. Particularly, please, people before funds, okay? People before organizations. You want to meet actual people. It's not that it's not going to work, you're just going to meet the people themselves. So it's like, the planet governing the charity is going to show you this is where you need to put the money. I can see your intent, and I'm bringing to you where you actually need to put the money. So that, so businesses or trades that are owned by women, especially if they are recovering from like addiction or jail or trafficking or being trafficked. It can be also source of coercion and like sexual violence victims. I do think here it is more like women who are not by choice in the sex work industry. Then that is something you can put as donation. And because it is 12th house and we want to negate the negative effect, to some extent it could be reducing stigma around women and sex work. Absolutely can be the case, but you don't want to forget that, you don't want to forget the women who are trafficked, the women who are not there by choice, the women who are dealing with addictions, okay? You don't want to forget the people who are actually dealing with the atrocities and not just with the stigma. You get what I'm saying? So that is, those are great causes, and you want to go to the people themselves, people, not the organizations. If it is addiction recovery, then you can assist in funding a place where they can recover in safely. So you don't give them money if you're concerned about the money going to drugs or something like that. And the person does a conduit that they want to heal, so that you can have a assistance to recovery centers from addictions for women. So yeah, Libra of course is also art galleries. Here again, I would say because it is 12 houses, not just yeah, you can get around with art galleries, fine. But if you want to do something actually meaningful, then perhaps the rights of artists in art galleries. Okay. Yes, preservation of art. If you have like Saturn is exalted in the scale. So preservation of art, that can also be the case. That is more kind of a lighter, brighter. But here we are talking about you want to keep yourself out of psychic attacks and losses. So granted it's not like financial losses, then it can be because of Venus. Then I do want you to go to those places where you donate to people who are suffering with addiction, you donate to people who are human trafficking survivors, or raise awareness. When you go and really address the underlying issues, as this charity is relieving that. It's like you're tending to it, and so you learn how to tend to it in a good way, and so that is what is asked of you, because usually people tend to something only after they have a crisis. And now if you know that this is your 12th house and you weren't aware of that, instead of you having the crisis, if it's not in the books for you to have this crisis, you're not going to be put in it either, because you'll be tending to this issue. So this is coming up for Mars in Libra. Again, it's one of those niche episodes. I will continue to do them. And I know it's very for just, Scorpio Ascendant, to a lesser degree Sun or Moon, but I do think it's necessary. And you can take the larger teaching of 12th house charity. I think Lada made a video about this, so you can search for this in Lada's channel. Basically, you look at what is the sign ruling your 12th, what is the planet, what do they rule, and you give donation to as directly as you can the things that are ruled by this. So if it rules women that heal from addiction, then you don't give it to a charity that helps women that heal from addiction. It's unlikely to get to the women. You ask to give it to the women. You can give it to a charity, and then you will begin to see the women approaching or coming in your life. You look, on your social media or on Twitter and stuff like that. So that's a general teaching for anybody who's having Mars in Libra. And also, as you tend to those types of women, you're going to be very much relieved, whether as a man or as a woman or as multi-genders or as gender non-conforming or genderless. You're going to be very much relieved from a lot of your inner conflicts about that. Sometimes somebody that you see as a threat to your marriage is basically a person that is only seeking to recover from something, or is not even existing, is actually your partner. Or you're thinking, I don't know, my partner masturbates on like sex workers and stuff like that. And you get to know sex workers, and they give you tips for, your relationship and things that you didn't know about your sexuality. Or alternatively, you create this sisterhood, which with Venus is so important, that is actually genuinely protective. And yes, it with charity, it can alleviate, because you can feel whatever your gender is, if you have gender, if you don't have gender, it is women that you can feel betrayed by, because 12th house can also be betrayal. One of the betrayal houses with 8th house, wherever Ascendant is. So, and if you were born not today, then Ascendant is also in your 7th house, and Ascendant signifies for betrayal. So you understand that you need to be very, closely related with Venus, with the Resh Kigal, and with Algol, but in a way that is humilifying. And if you're not in any way attached to this, because you're ruled by Mars, then I really think that now when Venus is retrograde, she is in the phase of Inanna, And yet it's a great time to reflect on the whatever your gender is. What women do you see or you deem as? Do you have unconscious beliefs that women are, you know, a pack of snakes? Okay, what does a girl have on her head? Her hair turns into snakes. And you think about how many perceptions have we internalized about both men and women, that kind of like all women betray each other, all women are always seeking to take my husband or take my or humiliate my wife, or women are only wanting to make my wife think that I am like this and like that so that she will be unhappy, or they care more about the sisterhood than about her being happy with the man. And you can feel that this is that situation. If that accompanies you, then actually coming closer to those female archetypes like Kali, like Algol, cautiously, okay, like Ereshkigal, and even like Inanna or like Venus, is going to create a tremendous benefit if you do it by charity. If you actually make an intention to change your mind and to be more aware of the things that you are not aware of. Okay, if you are a man here, you could be having a Madonna horse symptom. Okay, because the ruler of the 7th is the ruler of the 12th. And so you can be setting intention. Okay, Mars can actually ditch it. It ditches kind of like, okay, I get this is what it is. I set the intention to change that and to improve my sex life and to improve my relationship or my marriage even. And even my penis functioning, right? We talked about that. So if you are a man with Scorpio Ascendant, that might be where you're going to go with it. If you've been compartmentalizing, okay, it's like this person is like this because why? She dressed this way, she does this way. Okay, do you know her? Do you know who is she underneath the clothes? Do you know her? And that is something that you or that woman that looks like she's all classy, she's all this, she's all that, and she's sleeping around and doesn't even tell you that. Why? Because she thinks she's liberated. I was born free, you cannot judge me. Okay, but can you at least mention that you're non-monogamous? So those things can absolutely happen, and it is a lot of getting to know the various types of women that will assist you with discernment. If you have been like betrayed or cheated on, then that's like something that can come up as well. So you can like discover, and if you're a Scorpio Ascendant, you might want to have this like deep bond and find it difficult to let go. If you've seen something that you find like not just, then gathering understanding of what is the situation for people. Is it allowed for people who are non-monogamous to say I'm non-monogamous and not have implications that or stigma around them? Is it allowed for a woman to desire more than one man and not be considered a hoe or a narcissist, or what if she's honest about it? Do the conditions for truth exist? And tend to that, as well as knowing that you're not to blame for what happened to you and validating yourself because you're not to blame for the actions of somebody else, or the societal restrictions cause them to act the way they do. And again, here donating exactly to the type of women that you deem like that you don't like is very good, because it's hidden enemy. Basically, it can be those type of women that you don't see, that you don't think about, that are your blind spot, that you have all kinds of unconscious projection, and seeking out those and contributing to them, and at least it's like listening to them, trying to get to know the stories, finding like podcasts. Soft White Underbelly can be a great podcast for you to watch. And that can be very, very purifying for your soul. especially if you're like a cisgender man. It can be very purifying for your soul. It can be very alleviating of a lot of complexes that you have around yourself, your sexuality, your bedroom, and your marriage. Um, and it can kill those nightmares. And it can be, maybe some women feel, if you're a woman with this ascendant, it's more likely that your partner is the problem than a third party that you think that is the problem. And in horrific cases, it can be that your partner is actually even crossing the sexual boundaries of another, and you think she's a hoe that seduces him. So be careful, especially if you're working with Algol, okay? Turn to Algol, ask Algol before you do that, okay? Because Algol was actually the victim of that, and Algol is in your 7th house. You don't want to awaken the wrath of Algol. But if you are a man, and this is your woman, yes, it can be that your woman is a bit of a cheat, or that she betrays you, which is more powerful, but you could be feeling like you're dealing with her friends. With Mars, you kind of be feeling maybe you're dealing with another penis, okay? Or so maybe there's like another man, and I know you're Scorpio ascendant, I dare you to question yourself, okay? If you are afraid that you will cheat, you could be projecting. If this is something that is really overwhelming to you, now with Mars in your 12th, you can ditch those addictions, set intention, and set prayer to find, find solace within, so that you can have these close bonds that you desire. And I know jealousy is a part of life, but not so much that it overwhelms you and you're acting like in undermining ways because you are jealous of somebody that may not even exist. Okay? With Mars in Libra, it's very much the imagined penis or the imagined third party, more so than the actual one. At least for the time where Mars is in Libra. So, Libra can be many cases. And again, you know what? If you are like tightly monogamous, talk to non-monogamous women, not in the sense of dating them or having sex with them. Try to see how do they view the world. Speak with them. Hear about their point of view. If you're addicted to, let's say, a sex worker or something like this, listen to sex workers. Listen to sex workers talk. Hear various voices. Make conscious effort to hear various voices. Listen to them. Okay, witnessing is something that's very much needed. If this is like the Madonna whore, then try to think. Again, soft white underbelly can be assisting, or try to see if you can think, and you probably will have certain women that challenge your stigma around women. A woman who is a little is not always submissive. A woman who is kinky is not always non-monogamous, or requires you to be monogamous or non-monogamous. A woman, I know because Libra can be like, they have like the kinky stuff. A woman who is non-monogamous or sleeping with some men, it doesn't mean that she doesn't like them, doesn't mean that they don't like her. It doesn't mean that she's a hoe or doesn't have standards or narcissistic. It just means that she's non-monogamous. A woman who is looking very classy and very this and very that, it doesn't mean that she will actually be what you expect her to be. Whatever you project on her, maybe you think, oh, she's classy like this, but she's a whore in bed, and you find out she likes, I don't know, missionary position where you're going down on her for hours, and it's like, that's what it is, hugging forever, and that's what it is. Or whatever you project onto women, you're gonna have to really make conscious effort to challenge yourself, because you will be challenged. But it also has a lot of good things, okay? A lot of discoveries of pleasure with an actual marital partner that you could have, and really enjoy them, you know. So or it can even be that the woman that you didn't even think pays attention to you is actually a secret admirer. So you know, both with, if you are a woman, if you're a man, or whatever your gender is, it can also mean those things. So I think I got it pretty much correct. Maybe if we talk about kinky, so alternative sexual communities, maybe, I don't know, maybe that. So yeah, this is something I find helpful for particularly 12th house Libra. So it's both a timeless teaching and a teaching for the times where Mars is going through this. Um, like you are ruled by Scorpio. You don't lack either depth or experience or willingness to tend to things and to transform and be transformed. So my prediction is that you'll be very successful once you set up to transform yourself, um, and come out, um, with the depth of intimacy that you desire. Like you can get it, you can get it, and you're not afraid to confront yourself, which is one of the greatest assets that a person can have. So yeah, thank you for watching.